Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're joining me today, live from Nkolo Mahadum Wisdom University. My name is Obio Ramba. Today's date is Nkwo Market Day in the first month of the Igbo lunar calendar called Onwa. We are in the first month of the Igbo lunar calendar called Onwa Mbu, Onwa Nkiz. And today's date in the Roman Catholic calendar is 225, 2025. And remember, at Nkolo Mahadum, we always advise you to use your common sense. You're naturally given common sense to evaluate issues before you make any decision. And that common sense is called Akonuche in Igbo language. Also, we have maintained that since other universities from other nations present information to favor their countries, the same format we at Nkolo Mahadum will also present our lectures to benefit the Igbo race, the Biafran people, and Africa as a continent, and as a people. Therefore, invite all your family members, your children, your friends, and well-wishers to join and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and other social media platforms. And also share. Like our lectures, comment so that we know how you're feeling. The title of today's lecture is that Confessions of June 12th and the 1966 coup, not Igbo coup, by Ibrahim Babangida in his book, A Journey in Service. We resort to referendum. The title of today's lecture is that the confession that June 12th was annulled and that 1966 coup is not an Igbo coup. Revealed, confessed by Babangida, Ibrahim Babangida, when he was launching his book, A Journey in Service. We are saying it will lead to referendum. The news has been going on recently that during the launch of a book written by Ibrahim Babangida, the ex-military leader of Nigeria, he admitted that MKO Abiola won the 1993 presidential election, but he annulled it. He canceled that election for national interest. What we want you to look at is the fact that he knew that MKO won this election. He knew. Now, why did he annul it? Why did he cancel it? That explains the mindset of those in charge of Nigeria since the counter coup. Since the counter coup of 1966, that reveals their mindset and how they do things and how they manage the country. That he's aware, completely aware, that MKO Abiola won that election. Instead of announcing him to be the leader, no, he went back and said he annulled it for national interest. And for that national interest, we want to question. Ibrahim Babangida annulled this election for national interest. Where is that national interest today? Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. Terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, corruption, election rigging, where they declare losers as winners, hatred, tribalism, security forces excesses, introduction of Sharia law in northern Nigeria, and now trying to introduce it in western Nigeria, Islamization Fulanization, to mention a few. That is where we are today. So after he annulled that election in 1993 for national interest, this is the national interest we have in 2025. How does it help us? That is the question I want you to be asking. Because that annulment of that democracy, the fairest election ever held in Nigeria, explains the mindset of the people who are managing Nigeria from the counter coup of July 1966. In addition, General Babangida also revealed that the January 1966 coup was not an Igbo coup. Because this brainwashing, this lie that coup was an Igbo coup was the genesis of the root cause of all the problems we are having in Nigeria today. Because it was the consequences of those lies that said that it was the Igbo man, it was the Igbos that caused that coup that led to every other thing that follows. A coup which was organized, which many Igbos lost their lives to make a Yoruba man, Obafemi Awolowo, the president of Nigeria, so that Nigeria would be good for everybody. That was the intention of that coup. Because they see what is going on in Nigeria. The same Fulanization was going on. A lot of crisis in the West. And people know that Awolowo is a very good man who can fix Nigeria, who can make Nigeria better. That was why Nigerians had that coup in January 1966 to sanitize Nigeria, to make it better for everybody. But those who claim, who say they own Nigeria, they are the ones that started to lie, to tell the Nigerians that it is an Igbo coup. And that lie is the root cause, is the foundation of all the problems we're having in Nigeria today. And because the lies led to the end of, it led to the July 1966 counter coup. And Babangida is also part of those who participated in that coup. It led to the July 1966 coup, which was led by Lieutenant Colonel Murtala Mohammed. The July 1966 coup. It also led to the end of Ironsi regime, because Ironsi was appointed after the January 1966 coup, after those who want to save Nigeria, the coup to save Nigeria. But the July 1966 counter coup led to the end of Ironsi's government. It led to killing of many Igbos and officers. It led to killing of many Igbo soldiers and officers. In the Nigerian army. It also led to the beginning of northern dominance of the Nigerian military. It was after that counter coup of July 1966 that Yakubu Gowon was appointed the head of state. Also, 1966, there was anti-Igbo program where Igbo people, when we say Igbo people, it includes everybody from the Igbos in Middle Belt to the Igbos in the hinterland, to the Igbos in the coastal region, even to Benin, as we know Benin today. So a lot of people were massacred. They call it Igbo program because mainly people from the Igbo speaking area were massacred, including others. And they said that about 30,000 Igbos were massacred during that period. They call it Igbo program, which went on between May 1966 to 29 September 1966. Also in that program, babies were pregnant women were caught. They were caught and babies brought out from their womb. Unborn child. It was reckless massacre. It's called program, 1966 program. A lot of Igbos were massacred, both in the military and civilians across the whole Nigeria. It also led to the Nigerian Biafran War. Why is it called Nigerian Biafran War? Because Nigeria started the war. It was the one that started the war after he rejected the Aburi conference, where they agreed for what you call today regionalism. That is what it is. He rejected Aburi Accord. And that led to the war. And they blockaded the sea, called naval blockade, where goods supposed to be coming into the Biafra land. And that alone led to the dying of between 3,000 to 5,000 people every day, according to Wikipedia. About 3,000 and 5,000 people were dying in Biafra, part of the war, during that period as a result of the blockade. And plus, they were bombing both marketplaces, refugee camps, hospitals, disregarding all United Nations Geneva Convention that set the standard for humanitarian treatment during the war. They disregarded everything. One of the military officers from the Nigerian side, Adekunle, from the Yoruba land, was saying, shoot everything that moves. They shoot everything that moves. And some accounts have it that about 3 to 7 million people died as a result of that war. Excluding properties worth trillions and trillions of naira today were lost in that war. And after the war, they said, no victor, no vanquish. But there was a victor and somebody was vanquished, because every Igbo man was given only 20 pounds. You must have had it. They were given 20 pounds. And plus the agreement, the 3R, which was part of the agreement to end that war, which is reconciliation, reconstruction, and rehabilitation, was not done. It was not done. And so there's a victor and a vanquished. And since the end of that war, those that have been victorious have been marginalizing those that have been vanquished. That's why you have all this poverty in our land. Our people are migrating to different parts of the world, including African countries, which we don't have to go to. Even Muslim countries where we don't have to go to. Even European countries where we don't have to go to. Even Asian countries where we don't have to go to. We are forced to be living our land. Our land is occupied. The worst militarized zone in the world. All the military checkpoints, police checkpoints, custom checkpoints, DSS checkpoints, and all kinds of checkpoints. Plus, if you come to the government hierarchy today, the Igbo man is only number 6. The deputy speaker of the House of representatives. The Igbo man is number 6. We continue to be marginalized. And all our minerals are being exploited and taken away. The other day, they were showing one mineral resource from Ebonyi State that they have been stealing and stealing and stealing without consulting the owners of that mineral resources. And what we are saying at Igbo is that there's no other compensation than referendum. Give the people referendum in Nigeria to decide where they want to be. Asking for referendum is not declaring war. It's not asking for war. That's what you need to do. Then after that referendum, the Nigerian government supposed to pay the Biafran people about 30 trillion naira to try to manage that one. Because if you factor in all the killings from the 1966 program to the Civil War and the destruction and the continuous marginalization of our people up to today, you will see that there's no amount of money will actually do it. Not even referendum, but referendum is to say, yes, we have been lying. We lied about the January 1966 coup that is not the Igbo coup, and that is the genesis of all the problems that we have having in Nigeria today. That is also to say that we lied during Aburi conference that we're supposed to have regionalism, supposed to abide by that Aburi agreement. And also you have to, that is also to say that we lied and continue to lie to the Nigerian people, to the Biafran people, and to the African people. That's what it's supposed to be. The referendum is just to say, hey, we are sorry. Let's have this referendum, decide whether I want to be here or not. That is the answer to all these revelations. And there's counter many more revelations that people already know. It's just for the actors like Babangida to come out and say, or the government. Because when for Babangida to own June 12th and January, that is 6Q, because he's one of the actors. He's one of the actors. So referendum will be the best thing to do to appease the Biafrans of all the lies and marginalization and occupation and all the losses they have had from that lie that the January 1966 coup is an Igbo coup. And because we said we're going to be keeping everything short, the title of our today's lecture is that the confession of June 12th and that the 1966 coup was not an Igbo coup by Babangida during his book presentation. The name of his book is A Journey in Service. We are saying the answer should be referendum. Because if Babangida can come out to admit that, hey, the 1993 election, Abiola won it, but we didn't give it to him. We canceled it. That tells you that reveals the mind of the people that owns Nigeria. How can somebody win an election? You know he won it, and then you went ahead and canceled it. That's not good at all. That's it. That's not good at all. And also, he also admitted that the 1966 coup was not an Igbo coup. There are so many admissions the government have to come and make. The Asaba massacre, other massacres they perpetrated and have been perpetrated in Biafra land till today, they have to come and own it on time. Don't wait until after 32 years and then you come and be telling us Because all these things are fast. The world know it. Everybody know what is going on. But except that the powers that be, those with the gun, will not admit it. Because they have the gun. And so what we are saying is that the 1966, the January 1966 coup, classified as an Igbo coup, is the biggest lies that led to every other thing that is going on in Nigeria today. It led to the counter coup, led by Lieutenant Colonel Murtala Mohammed. End of Ironsi government. Killing of many Igbo soldiers and officers. Beginning of northern dominance of the Nigerian army. And Yakubu Gowon was appointed head of state. And 1966 program, where many Igbo people were killed, both in the army and civilians. And pregnant women were killed. Some of them will be alive, and babies will be brought out of their stomach. And the Nigerian Biafran war, which was started by Gowon. Gowon should come out and tell us that this war was started by us. You have to have referendum. Have referendum for all these lies. And they blockaded the sea, and about 5,000 people were dying every day as a result of that blockade. And they did not follow the United Nations Geneva Convention during the war. They were bombing both markets, churches, hospitals, refugee camps, and about 3 to 7 million people died, apart from the destruction of properties. And after the war, they said that there's no victor, no vanquished, but there's a victor and a vanquished. The victor gave the vanquished 20 naira each, and they didn't follow the agreement of reconciliation, reconstruction, and rehabilitation. That's why we don't have anything in our land. With continuous marginalization, which has led to poverty, migration of our people, and then our place is militarized everywhere, and our minerals are being exploited. So what we are saying, the only solution for all these lies is referendum. And do not wait for 32 years to start to tell us, because we already know, the world already know. Referendum is the only solution to appease the Biafrans of all the lies and subjugations that we'll be going through for decades in the geographical area called Nigeria. And with this, we shall be bringing today's lecture to an end. Thank you very much for